right, y'all. What's up? What's up? What's up? It's Coach Cecil. Super excited. And listen, y'all, just really amped and fired up as I'm hitting my mic. Sorry for all the if that's some background noise that did when I did that. Sorry. But yeah, so fired up because here's the deal. It's not often that I get the privilege and the honor to be able to talk to friends in a different kind of environment, right? And so let me just start by saying that the person I'm about to introduce you to is someone I have so much respect for. She's a good friend. We go all the way back. And that to me is amazing, right? So we've just finished a really incredible experience with our ladies only mastermind group. And as you all know, as a coach, I love creating learning communities. That's my passion. I'm really passionate about it. So I really think it's important. I think change happens best in community, right? So as a result, we've already done our entrepreneurs mastermind group that's been going strong. We've done 4 months of that. It's been incredible. But we just literally yesterday, so when you watch this, it'll be after, but we just launched our ladies only mastermind group, and it was incredible. The conversation was phenomenal. The growth, the learning, all of it was amazing. It was such a powerful experience. And I just was so grateful for the women that poured in and were a part of it. And so I've grabbed one of these women that, I'm real close to. She's family. I mean, we just go back, right? And for me, having someone like that's your peeps that you can have as a part of the community, but also that wants to take the time to just kind of have this conversation. I'm so privileged and appreciative of. And so we are true family. Like she's like a sister to me, and literally going back to college, and it's just been amazing to be able to have someone that in your corner that's there to support you, that believes in you, and that helps to cheer you on. And so, Kristina, thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Kristina Newland. Kristina, thanks so much. I want to give you a chance to introduce yourself. Mike is yours.
Okay, again, my name is Kristina Newland, very good friend of Cecil. We met back in the 90s in college. And I will say we definitely have a family ship. He really and truly is my brother. He's one of my best friends. And he has been front and center to see all of the challenges, the triumphs, the victories, the shade, the coming out into the light, all the transformations, all of those things, he's been front and center to see. And so I really could not say no to this opportunity, even though I didn't realize it was going to be live. So I was like, wait a minute. But I could not say no. So here we are. A little bit about myself. I was born and raised in New York. My family is Jamaican and American. I'm a Yankee. Okay, that's what they would call me. I have a daughter. She's turning 25. Actually, she's 25 today. So my little baby is 25. And I have 2 siblings. I come from a very close-knit extended family on both sides. I'm actually the genealogist for my family on both sides. So I'm one of the genealogists on both sides. And so I really take seriously, our roots, where we come from, the cause of things, the legacy of things, the trajectory of things. And so in looking back in history, we often can kind of predict what might become or what might be. But also I look back to be inspired by those who have come before me, and I hold them in high regard. I hold my family in high regard as well. I work in the DC school system. So I'm in a charter school for youth 16 to 24 years old. Majority of them have been failed by the school system. And so, back in the 80s and 90s, you might call them at-risk students, but I would say marginalized and oftentimes forgotten, fed up, frustrated, involved with the justice system, involved with CFSA, childhood traumas, their ACEs are high ACEs, so it's a lot of things that we deal with. So I'm an administrator, I'm not a teacher, and I deal with like discipline, I deal with school culture, I oversee the counselors and the coaches as well, so or what you would call case managers in social services, and the dean and assistant dean, if those roles are fulfilled. And it can be very challenging, it can be very difficult. I'm an ordained minister in the Church of the Nazarene. I'm not really active right now, but as my district superintendent said to me about 2-3 weeks ago, said, sounds like your job is your church, Kristina. And so, I've always known I don't really fit to the 4 walls. And so what I'm doing truly is an extension of just who I am and who God created me to be. And I believe what my ministry, or part of what my ministry is, because it's not the same thing all the time for all of your life. And so at this season in my life, we're going to talk about thriving. We're going to talk about, challenges and struggles. Um, I'm not saying life is without them, but I really finally feel like I'm not in a place where I'm just surviving, but actually thriving. And yeah, we can talk about that in more detail as we go forward.
Well, thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate it. And you know, like you said, we're straight up family and best of friends, and it's really awesome because we've been a part of each other's journeys through all of it, right? And you know, college is like this place where, as you mentioned, a lot of who we are comes and stems from that, right? And we become someone different. And so both of us being each other's lives through that process, through that journey, really is a powerful part of how we are so close, and why we know it all, like all the skeletons for real. But it's what it is, right? But it's about having that kind of support system. So as we talk today, I want to start off with this. What does womanhood mean to you at this stage in your life? Let's start with it. Let's start there.
What does it mean to me at this stage in my life? I think womanhood, in the context I've grown up in my experience of just life in general, is really cherishing and counting precious being a woman.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, however that is, uh, walking with my head held high, really standing my ground, or as the kids say, standing on business. What I say is what I say. My yes is my yes, my no is my no. Really, I don't think I really came to this place until recently. But even just, not worrying about how I'm viewed by others, not worrying about fitting into a box, not worrying about even what others might say, and not in the sense of you don't care what people have to say, but you go forward and you be yourself anyway.
Hmm.
And I think that I left the country for a little bit in 2023, and I
Oh.
was living in Asia Minor in Turkey. And I joke when I tell my friends, I say, "Oh, Turkey made a woman out of me."
Hmm.
Even in my late 40s, made a woman out of me. uh that experience and others really helped to shape like who I was when I returned and
Hmm.
who I am today. And I know there are a lot of things, even during the pandemic, I took a leap. I left New York.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to live in Maryland. I left in 2000. I left New York in 2020. In
Hmm.
my good old job, I had scored high on the county test, and I was going to move into the Department of Social Services and be set.
Hmm.
Left my family, everybody, and came down here sight unseen. I hadn't even visited the apartment. I did a walkthrough on FaceTime, and I don't think I'd been able to go to Turkey had I not made that leap. And I used to joke and say, "Oh, 2020 is a leap year. It's the year to leap," but it really was for me. And yeah, and those things really shaped how I feel about being a woman. In that society.
Hmm.
Women are not viewed or treated the same way as here. Now, I'm not going to say it was terrible, but I've had some experiences. I don't know if I'll get into them, but I had some experiences where, am I going to fight? Is it going to be flight? Is it going to be freeze? Is it going to be fawn? Right? And Cecil could tell you, I don't really freeze, I don't really flight, and I don't really fawn. Right? So, I mean, it really showed me like wherever I am there. Right? Wherever I am there, and that's why I'll be okay.
Yeah, yeah, I love to share because it's a different kind of mindset and mentality when you decide and say, you know what, the challenges have made me who I am. Like the difficult stuff, the things that I did that stretched me, made me who I am, made me woman, and I embrace and love that this is me, and I love my womanhood. I love the fact that you shared that. That's beautiful. I love that. So then, I mean, you've shared a couple things. So, was there a particular moment when you realized that you had shifted from just striving or surviving rather to intentionally choosing to thrive, right? So with because I know you mentioned a couple of things that happened, but was there a moment where you were like, you know what, nah, a shift is happening, something
Mhm.
different has occurred?
It was October 2023
Okay.
on a beach in the Grill, Jamaica.
Hmm.
And I was standing in the water, like I'd come back from Turkey, and the job where I am now, I was there before I left.
Right.
They heard I came back, and they were like offering me to come back. I was like, I might stay in New York. I was already job hunting, maybe I shouldn't leave. My parents, my grandparents still there, and I remember standing in the water, and that's where I connect with God, in the water, the ocean, moving, living water.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember saying, listen, I've got to make some decisions about my life. And on the table was going back to Turkey, and they were ringing my phone like, when you coming back? When you coming back? When you coming back? And um, you hear people talk about manifestation in certain contexts, but I always take it back to faith. Right? It's the evidence of things not seen, right? It's a substance of something that exists. I just haven't come to know it yet.
Right.
Right? That's how I equate it to, if you want to put it in a biblical sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I said there's a whole life and path and world that already exists for me. How do I align myself with it? And I stood on that beach, and I stood in the water. I remember this one little fish was under one of the little buoys, and it just sat there.
Huh.
I was like, hey, who are you? Let's talk about it. So I remember talking to the water, talking to the fish, talking to the Lord. And I was like, well, this is the salary that I need to make to survive. I laid out a salary, a specific number for the survival in New York.
Hmm.
I said, this is the type of impact that I want to have. Right. I don't really have anything in mind, because DC was not like a definite. And I listed some other things. And I kid you not, I don't know if it was a week or two. I was in New York, I was taking a nap, and a friend of mine called, and she works for the school as well. She said, listen, we would like to have you back. This is what we're offering you.
Hmm.
It was a little bit shy of the number I listed, but I said, okay, I thought about it. I said, what about housing and this, that, and the other? And we kind of figured that all out. So I got back down here, December 23. And my second week on the job, the director was let go, director of the department. And I was promoted to director.
Uh,
It was the exact number I
wow.
listed on the beach
Wow.
within 2 weeks. When
Wow.
I left in January 23, between January and December, my salary jumped a good $35,000.
Wow.
I didn't do anything. I
That's
didn't do anything different. And I'm not saying thriving is based on money, right? Because the more we have, the more we spend.
that's true.
But it was an example to me, and it was a signal to me that we really are as we think we are.
That's,
And
that's,
we really, when we walk by faith, there is a knowledge and a knowing in that, because it already exists.
yep.
And so I say, even if I'm sick in my body, even, and we were understaffed, it's a stressful job. I'm not going to lie. It's a stressful job. Like, I'll go in the bathroom and cry sometimes. I'll run up in my boss office and cry sometimes. It's rough.
Yep. Yep.
And so it's not that it wasn't difficult, but I had it, but my mindset shifted. That's one thing that Turkey did for me. My mindset shifted. There's no woe is me. There's
Mm,
no I can't.
mm,
If I feel I can't, I'm going to do it trembling.
mm,
If I'm afraid, I'm going to do it trembling. And so that for me was the shift. And I'm no longer like scraping and grasping and trying to figure things out. Nah, I already know it's already set.
mm.
I just need to walk into it.
Yeah.
And that's not hocus pocus.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
You know, I just have to walk into it.
Yeah, yeah, that's legit. I love that. That's and I'm sure that some of what you just said ties into this next question because when you have that recognition and understanding of that who I am and who I'm meant to be is not something I have to debate. I just need to follow my plan that's right for my life. That's who I am. I don't need to compare it to everybody else's life. I don't need to look at I just know that there's a plan for me and a purpose for me. And as
Right.
long as I stay in alignment, it will come to fruition. And I think that's what that's an important piece. So the next question I have to ask is, what's a lesson you've learned in your journey that you wish every woman knew earlier?
Hmm. You are enough.
Mm. Oh yeah, thought about that last night for real. Yes,
You
yeah,
are enough,
yes,
and you can say who you are.
yes,
You
yeah,
have permission to say who you are, and you do not need to ask anybody else
yeah,
anything about it.
yeah,
Like we have this saying, Jamaica say, don't watch people's face. I mean, it's in the Bible too, right? Don't watch their faces.
yeah, yeah,
Don't watch people's face. Do what you know is inside you to do, and don't worry about it. Be courageous.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you are enough. Don't watch people's face and be courageous.
yeah, yeah. And I love that share because I think in fact, it's funny. I literally today I posted on my page everyone knows I post a daily thought, right? It's part of me. I do my daily book club every day. So Monday through Friday. For those who don't know, it's a free book club. You can join me. It's global, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. But as a way of introducing or inviting people to that, I share a daily thought. So today's thought was, "You're enough."
Hmm.
That was today's thought. So it's funny you said that because it's something that really resonated from last night's conversation, from our conversation with the women. Just something that was just it always hurts my heart, and it's been something I've dealt with so much with so many coaching clients as women. Is that women are struggling with that. So I love that you shared that because I think it's so pertinent. It's so important. All right. So what are some unspoken or overlooked struggles that women face today, especially in your field of community? So this, we're going to kind of move into the direction talking about struggles now. So what are some struggles that you find that I think are I'm using this intentional, unspoken and overlooked struggles? So that, as far as whether it's your field or whether it's your community, the women are facing.
I think many women struggle in friendships.
Oh yes, absolutely, yes.
Now I can list people I would call friend and be talking all day,
Hmm.
right? But as I've grown, the inner circle is getting smaller. But along with that, with all the friends I have, or acquaintances, or friend like people, I hear many complaints like, I don't have a lot of friends. It's hard for me to keep friends. I don't feel like I fit in. Now, I never felt like I fit in to my friend groups.
Mm.
And sometimes I still don't, but I don't worry about it as much. But friendship is one of them. Um, the lie told, or the myth that everybody's going to be married,
Oh yes, yes,
that everyone's going to have children,
yes,
that the
yes,
children
yes,
will be 100% healthy, or no challenges or no issues. Um,
yes,
that marriage is wonderful.
yes,
That's
yes,
the prize, right? Woo, you got to get to marriage.
yes, yes,
And I
yes.
mean, even in church, first ladies, even they're like, oh, if I had to do it over, you know? Um,
Yeah.
I would say also relationships, like just beyond marriage, beyond friendships, but romantic relationships. Really finding quality mates, depending on the community that you're in. So I'm in Black community, Caribbean community, African diaspora. Many Black women are raised or socialized to be with Black men, right? So we don't really consider outside. And then also because of societal issues and illnesses, a lot of times Black women are the least sought after. And so that becomes, the dating pool is much smaller. And so I hear a lot of women kind of speak about that as well. You really got to come to peace with it. Or if you were married, you were divorced, like, how do I start dating now? So many things. Workplace microaggressions
Mm.
and jealousies. Even jealousy from those close to you, because so many are such high achievers. But we also, like I'm Generation X. We were taught, study a book, study a book, study a book, study a book. Don't depend on a man. Don't depend. Never told, like, be soft. This is how you date. This is how someone should treat you, right? So we coming in the boss. And it's hard sometimes to find a counterpart that can kind of like navigate that with you. Those are some of the bigger things. And I would say maybe like health issues and body image.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, yeah.
Body image, yeah.
Yeah, we in our book club we did a book called The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, and speaks about the friendship piece and how challenging it is. And I've had that the relationship, both whether romantic or just friendships in general. I've had that conversation with a lot of my coaching clients. It's been something that a lot of women we talk about very often because of the fact that women are oftentimes finding like there was an environment that you were in school or whatever it might be that made it easier. But once that environment's gone, things change. So you shared a lot of different pieces that I think a lot of women would agree with you 100% of like powerful shares. So how do you personally manage the pressure to do it all or be everything for everyone?
I don't manage it because it doesn't exist in my life
Oh,
anymore.
that's right. I know that's right.
I don't manage it. I say, no, I'm at home. Like, my quest in general is to have nowhere to be, right? No obligation to be anywhere, no obligation to do anything for anybody, and to pick and choose when and what I do.
Yeah.
Um, I used to burn the candle on both ends. Like I said, I was in ministry, running up from New York City to go to the church. It's snowing outside. I'm slipping and sliding. Two people come to Bible study. I'm getting home 8 p.m. I left my house 7 a.m. Or, you know, I go to work all day because I was actually an associate pastor before I left New York. And a lot of what you do is it's a different clock. And so I would leave my 9 to 5 and then the other clock would start. But also that other clock really is 24 hours.
Yeah.
And so, so that's why I say, like, I felt the way about like, oh, I'm not active in ministry like I used to be. I didn't really lock in with the congregation here in the DMV as I was in New York. I was doing things on Zoom at one point. I had started a women's group at one point, and I just came to a point, and I was kind of forced because of health issues as well and the demands of my job, to just say, you know what, no more. And it's okay. I think a lot of that, and what helped me to not be like that anymore, I think a lot of it is like validation. I think a lot of it is filling the time, because I didn't get to the marriage mountaintop yet. And people will tell me plain and simple in church, oh, being single is great because it gives you more time to serve the Lord. But I'm trying to be hugged up somewhere, not at Bible study, right? So it's like, yeah, I mean, so I understand PTA. When my daughter was young, I was very active in the school district, and all those different things. And I don't know, I feel like the pandemic like really opened my eyes to a lot, and then also I lived a lot of my life off the platform of fear. And so a lot of what I was doing with fear of not having enough money, fear of not being liked enough, or fear of not doing enough. Like we have a saying in the church, we so busy doing for God, we're not just being for God. And so that was a kind of a catch-22 as well. So right now, I don't juggle anything. And I will tell people, and I have boundaries, like, nope, I don't meet on that day, or I'm not available after 6. Like for me, with my job and some other things I went through over the year, around 5, 6 p.m., my brain is done. And no, I'm not getting on a Zoom 7 p.m. till 9. I'm in a group they started the Zoom at 8 p.m. on like a Wednesday. I'm supposed to be doing my wind down routine. You know, I'm of a certain age now. We in the bed at like 8, 9 o'clock. So, I mean, I'm a night owl, so I might be in the bed, I might not be asleep, but like to at least start my wind down process. And I had to stop like just depleting myself like that and saying, no, I can't do it. And every nobody has, you know, expired because of it. Everybody's still here.
Yeah, and I love that you talk about this kind of mindset and concept where you're like, I'm gonna set my boundaries. I've created these boundaries that allow me to be who I am. And like you said, the world didn't come to an end when I created them. It's not like because of them, all of a sudden everything came to a screeching halt and my life ended. You know, this I think oftentimes we think that if we set the boundaries that it will actually create some kind of issue, but sometimes we have to set them to live a certain quality of life. So continuing along those same lines, where do you draw your strength from during those challenging seasons when you're kind of going through difficult times?
Um, I draw it from retrospect, right? When I went through such and such, I'm still here today. I can do it again. I draw it from my spiritual life. I draw it from friends and family. That's really what sustains me. I don't know what I'd be, where I'd be, who I'd be without friends and family and that spiritual foundation as well. And like I said, I learned I will be okay wherever I am because I'm there.
Mm, mm,
So I put me at the center too.
mm. Yeah, and I think it's a different perspective, right? Because putting yourself at the center seems so selfish, right? Right. People kind of act as though this is something wrong with being taking care of you. And it's interesting because as we always talk about, you get on the plane and what do they say? Put the mask on whose face first? Your
On your own.
you gotta put on your and we don't realize that we spend so much time pouring out of our cup, we don't take time to refill. And we don't make that a priority. And missing that component has long lasting ramifications and implications. So
Mhm.
really appreciate that share. That's powerful. So let's kind of pivot now to dreams and desires, right? So if nothing was holding you back, what's the one thing you pursue more boldly right
Hmm. Probably singing.
now? My daughter can sing, y'all. If y'all don't know, Chris can
Probably
sing.
singing. Probably singing. Yep. Being a musician,
Okay.
multiple instruments, including the voice.
Okay. Okay. I
Mhm.
love that. It's so funny. I went to when I was invited to do my speaking engagement in Ghana. Um, you know, one of the group that I was with formulated a praise team of some of the members, and I was like, I'll sing. But I can sing, so I'll sing. And oh my goodness, I mean, I haven't done it in so long, right? Every so often I pop in, but I was busy with youth ministry for a while in that space, and so I kind of stepped back from doing music because that
Mhm.
was being the youth director was a lot that was involved there. So I just stopped the rehearsals and all that. Just added so much, and there was always something going on with the young people, and so getting out there and singing again, I forgot how much I loved it.
Mm.
We have some great memories from the University of Maryland Gospel
Mhm.
Choir. And then when we toured with Chris Page as well, we had some good stuff. I made you laugh off that one. Remember that? I know you remember that.
Moving on.
Uh, but um, but yeah, so it was amazing to get back up there and sing and just it was I enjoyed it so much, and so I appreciate that. I really do. So kind of like let's take this next level thought process in regards to thriving, right? So, what does thriving actually look like for you? And we're going to put it in a few different areas, right? Emotionally, spiritually, financially, and relationally, right? At this point in your life, what would you say thriving looks like for you now as you're thinking about that?
So the first word that came to mind that would be overarching for all of them is balance.
Mm,
Balance, but and I'm gonna need you to go through them again. So emotionally was the first one. Emotionally, um, means have I exercised the demons, the
Mm,
ghosts, and the goblins?
mm,
Have I taken the skeletons out the closet and buried them?
mm,
Have I faced myself and accepted who she is 100%?
mm,
Years ago, a friend of mine, so, okay, people that know me, even people very close to me, most have not really seen my full temper. I'm not who I used to be, but I had a really bad temper. And a friend of mine named her Hatchet Lady. And no shame in my game, I have a therapist. We have talked about Hatchet Lady. Another one of my good friends, she named her Betsy. Oh girl, Betsy, don't let Betsy come out in that store. It takes a long time, but it's not good. And the thing about it is, I don't like who I am. And in the aftermath, it's painful for me.
yeah.
And so one thing that we do in therapy is to integrate all the parts of yourself. You know, Hatchet Lady probably loves me the most.
Mm, mm,
And, you know, anger comes up sometimes because a boundary is crossed or some type of offense has happened. She loves me the most. She does not play behind me, right? But how we're kind of socialized, and I mean, even it says be angry, but do not sin, right? The Bible says be angry, do not sin. We don't want to lose control. Anger is healthy, it's normal, it's regular, but we don't want to make a mistake with what we say or what we do as a result of it. And so I've had to learn to integrate her. So instead of like being passive or passive aggressive or aggressive, it's an assertiveness
right.
and a confidence that comes. It's scary, but I've had to say, listen, if you continue to talk to me like this, I'm going to get up and leave and not continue this conversation. A different Kristina wouldn't handle it that way. But
Right.
I'm at a point where I can have those conversations and also be able to take in what's going on, kind of survey what's happening and the person I might be interacting with. And even in conflict, look at them with compassion and try to understand what is really happening. And then even doing the same for myself. So having that same compassion with myself, being introspective, you know, having, well, in my department, we teach social emotional learning skills.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know, and it's based off of DBT curriculum, right? We kind of newly introduced that curriculum, but it's looking at what's going on, not making it worse,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
also checking in with myself to say, wait, how's my body feeling?
Yes.
What am I telling myself? What's going on? There is a whole skill set to being emotionally balanced. You know, what do I watch? And I know it's going to upset me. Certain type of movies I won't watch. I don't really check in on the news. I look at headlines and I skim through if I need to know what's going on. And so really coming to know yourself and accept yourself, all parts of yourself. People talk about shadow work. That's you.
Yep. Yep.
That's
Yep.
you know, and it's fine. It is what it is. It developed for a reason, and understanding that, and just and my thing is I just strive to be my highest good.
Mm.
Yeah, emotionally. What was the second one?
Spiritually, financially, relationally.
You said spiritually?
Spiritually. Yep. Correct.
Spiritually, oh, I'm not gonna go too deep. Um, spiritually, I have been on a journey, and I seriously don't want to say too much because I'm still on that journey. Um, but it is recognizing for me what is or the difference between the divine
Mm,
and the imposed,
mm,
the conditioned.
mm,
You could say I am in the space of deconstructing my faith.
mm.
I
Okay.
don't deny my calling. I don't deny the tenets and the teachings of Christ and the Bible. I don't deny any of that. Um, but me and the institution kind of wrestling a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I got you.
So for me, it's looking at other ways people worship as well, recognizing that's what they do, and not condemning them or stripping them of their humanity to make them a sinner or a lost person. but to really just kind of say, but you know what? Because like when I was in Turkey and they pray 5 times a day and it comes on the speaker, I met God in Turkey.
Mhm,
I went
mhm,
to a Greek Orthodox church one time. I met God in the Greek Orthodox church. I don't know what they were saying. I
mhm,
went to a Coptic church one time, and I believe they were speaking in Arabic. And when they called on Allah, I knew they were talking about God, and I met God there. I grew up Roman Catholic.
mhm, mhm.
I would visit sometimes, New Year's Eve service or whatever. I meet God there. I meet God there, and it's recognizing that and taking him out of the box and taking ourselves out of the box as well. For me, thriving is like just freedom,
Yeah,
freedom from like that weight on my back, because that's what it was.
yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that. Financially, relationally.
Financially, being debt free. People say financial freedom, being debt free, but also mastering how to handle and manage money,
Yeah.
right? Because that's where it lies. And I'm not there yet, but if I could just get it together, just to have some type of sense and control about it. And also I'm a Delta, and one of my line sisters, she's like a financial guru. And she did a seminar for a workshop for a group I had. And she's like, I know you all want me to talk about money, but I'm going to talk about your relationships and your relationship with money. And so, honestly, for all of these things, how do I show up in my relationships and how am I affected by my relationships? Because it's going to show in all of these different areas. So for me, it's fear when it comes to money, it's ignorance, it's like hand to mouth, check to check, breaking out of that cycle.
Yeah. Last is relationally.
Relationally, 3 tenets I stand on. Anyone close to me, they need to be curious, they need to be generous, and there needs to be reciprocity.
Mm,
So I need curiosity, generosity, and reciprocity at the center of our interactions, or it's not going to work. Of course, there's integrity, honesty, all of those different things, and just being real. Like I'm going to be myself. I can't, I did that whole mask and pretend and two Christinas and all of that. No, 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 no. Like I'm going to show up as I am, and it might make someone comfortable. Um, that's okay. You're not in the inner circle then. It's just not, but for me, it's generosity, curiosity. Like I must be celebrated. Like when I call my friends, I know their faces light up. And when they call me, my face lights up. Like, and we're excited to see each other and we're excited to be part of one another's lives. It's not one-sided. It's not, you know what I'm saying? Like some might be a little draining or whatever like that, but there's an ebb and a flow to it. And if it doesn't bring me joy, if it does not bring me joy, that partnership does not bring me joy, what am I doing? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
yeah, I love that. That's deep. Wow. Speaking, so this is like a perfect transition, right? Because now we're talking about sistership and support, right? And I think you sharing how you are intentional about these other areas of your life, and I love what you share as far as how intentional you are about your relationships. How important is it for women to have safe spaces to grow, be vulnerable, and get real support?
It's extremely important. And I think that if we compare it to what men have, we probably have that more. I mean, just women in the village, women in the community, women in the building, women at the school event, women in the PTA. I think we have that kind of naturally, and perhaps that's something that evolved for survival, through the ages. But it's extremely important. And so I think when someone is seeking that safe space, well, first of all, I think therapy is so precious
Come on
and
now.
so valuable, it's so
Preach.
helpful.
Preach.
However you get it. If you don't have insurance, you can't afford it, start reading books, find a way. Um, by, licensed people who know what they're talking about or whatever. But therapy is important. But um friend groups can be our lifeblood, or it can be poison.
Oh, go
And
ahead.
so really and truly seeking out real people, but and I'll also say in seeking out real people, be ready to be real.
Come on now. Come on. Come on.
Because real people, they don't play them games. There's no pretend, and they're gonna see right through it. And you're not gonna get the help and the love and the support you need. Come back to me when you're serious,
Yep.
right? Also, be willing to be vulnerable. I said before, if you are scared, do it trembling,
I
right?
remember you said,
Be
yeah.
courageous. And a lot of times I speak this to my sisters in church because we preach all kind of stuff about, you know, casting out devils, and I come against, and and da 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 da, and can't keep a friend. Right? So it's like, what is happening then? Where we have to be able to kind of just put ourselves out there. And we might get hurt. But one thing I learned in ministry, and a mentor taught me, he said, you better learn not only to forgive, but to forgive for real and to do it fast.
Mm,
I'm not saying it's overnight. I'm
mhm.
just saying the willingness to enter into the process of it and considering it. Um, Really, I think in finding safe space as well, it's important to know who you are, or to really know, like, I don't know who I am. And so I'm trying to figure that out. Go out and try different things. Go on Eventbrite, go on Meetup, go to local museums, things that interest you, because then you may find that group of people that are interested in the same type of things. And it may take a little bit. I hear a lot of women say, in DC it's very hard to make friends. And I was like, wow, that's strange to me. But then when I think about it, even though I went to college here, I don't see anybody really. And I don't have the connection that I used to have. I used to talk to them more when I was in New York.
Yep.
So, I had in my head, oh, we're going to hang out, we're going to do this, we're going to bring back the days, and it didn't happen. What I did last summer, I started making my own circles.
Exactly. Yep.
And interests that I had that maybe my other friends didn't. And then some friends, they're married, they have kids that are still young or whatever. And so I started going out to things that interest me. I went to a rooftop party by myself. What I look like? And I remember going, I was on the phone with another friend, and I was like, I can't find parking. He's like, you trying to make excuses. He's like, I'm staying on the phone till you get out this car and go up there. And now the mindset I have is wherever I go, I'm going to make a friend, even if I go alone. So, I mean, the safe spaces are very important, but there's a lot of work in the background before finding that. I would say start small, start with one person, maybe become involved in a group of some sort, like what Cecil's doing, the master class, become involved in a group of some sort and really commit to like showing up and doing it and being there. And breaking some patterns that may have gotten in the way of you not being able to find a safe space.
It's interesting. Again, like going back to Let Them Theory. Again, I highly recommend the book. It's a powerful book by Mel Robbins. And again, same you're talking about this whole concept of breaking the norm, right? And having to get out of your comfort zone to be able to build relationships, to build connections, to begin this process of what it looks like to foster and develop new friendships and new relationships. And it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Not easy. It doesn't, it's just not. And I love that you share that, because I think it's one of those things where there are a lot of places. And I love the fact that you mentioned Meetup, and that you mentioned, there's a number of platforms where folks, Eventbrite and all these different things that I even tell folks, Facebook events, that's another opportunity. There's a lot of places and opportunities for you to be able to find and connect with and network with people. There's not a lack of that.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of, first of all, going back to what you talked about earlier, who are you? Like, become comfortable with who you are. What do you enjoy, right? And once you know what you enjoy, it changes things, because you'll do the things you enjoy, and you'll find people that enjoy it too, and you'll develop new relationships and find those safe spaces. And I know you are, you've been involved in a sorority and other community-based events, and programs and groups. So can you think of a time when another woman's support made a huge difference in your life. So whether it was ministry or no, is there a point in time where you had a woman in any of those communities that you were part of that were able to then help you kind of have that? Yeah,
I I most became interested in Delta because there was an RA in my hall who was so kind to me my freshman year.
mm,
And it just stuck with me. And
mm,
then I found out she was in the organization. And I saw her 3 years ago. I went to Maryland's homecoming and I told her the story. And I
yeah,
tell her all the time. And she's like, "Oh, you gonna make me cry, you're embarrassing me." But I tell her all the time. And it's still like it happened yesterday in my head. That's one person. Um, when I left DC, went back to New York, I had to finish school. And so I was finishing online. And that was difficult, but I was raising my daughter. I was dealing with marriage issues. I eventually got divorced, but this woman came to preach at the church that I was attending, and I approached her after, and I was like, "I want you to be my mentor. Like, don't be afraid to ask people to come into your life." And she was doing it, and she was like, "You know what? I'm here. I'm mentoring in pockets. I'm gonna throw 12 women together and have a group." And it was a 2-year commitment, and we had to set some goals to
mm.
reach. I hit all 5 of them. But
Wow.
that's another woman. And that was in 2007 or so. Um, my mother,
Mm.
when I was in seminary, I had 3 jobs. So I got laid off in that market crash in 07, 08.
Oh wow.
After a year of job hunting, I still couldn't find a job.
Mm,
So I was like, all right, I'll go back to school. And so that's when I entered into seminary. But I was working like 3 part-time jobs, this hustle, that hustle, and I went back to school full time. And
mm,
seminary is 93 credits,
mm.
right? And so we're talking 12 credits a semester. I did every winter, I did every twice in the summer. Like I finished in 3.5 years. Um, and I remember it was like towards my final semester, and I had a whole breakdown after giving a presentation. Now, mind you, I'm an Old Testament major, so half of what I did wasn't in English. Okay, so
Oh,
that's an added layer. Let me be clear.
woo.
I wasn't doing, not I ain't gonna downplay anybody else, but I'm just saying it was no joke. And then me, being the nerd I am, wanted to do Greek as elective, so I did most of a lot of the Greek track as well. And so I remember after a presentation, I had a breakdown, and and my friends are praying over me, and it's all this, this drama or whatever. But I remember saying to my mom, like, I can't do this, it's too much. She's like, remember, it's temporary.
Mm,
I hold that with me to this day. Remember, what's happening right now, it's not
mm,
going to be forever.
mm,
And
mm.
then one of my best friends, who actually was one of my enemies growing up,
It's funny.
but we're not going to tell that story. But we are both down here. She's the reason I moved down here to DC from New York. But she has been such a cornerstone in my life over the last 10 to 15 years, like in amazing ways that, I don't know. I mean, God would have used someone else perhaps, but I don't know that that's possible.
Mm,
Just where I am professionally, etc., so on and so forth. So those are 4 women that really, really and truly stand out
wow.
to me.
That's it's interesting, right? First of all, I appreciate you sharing those and being vulnerable. Um, you know, everyone wants to pretend like they can do it on their own. Like, you gotta
Mm-mm.
put your own bootstraps up and, be that lone eagle. But it's just not possible. Like it's like it takes we're better together. Like it takes us,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
A part of the reason why I create learning communities, the reason why I have a mastermind group is because, like we talked about, it's hard to create those connections and friends, but it's also hard sometimes to find like-minded women or to find, here's the key, other women that are not like you, that may in some way, form, or manner be able to support and help
Right.
you, right? Having women of varying ages and varying backgrounds and just being able to support each other. It's important to find and create that kind of a community. It's not just importance is central. So thank you for that share. Appreciate that. All right, we got two more questions, and I appreciate you taking the time and making the time to go through this. Why do you think now is the right time for women to invest in themselves personally, professionally, or spiritually?
I think I think women have been doing that to a certain degree already, but I think what the new wave is to take that cape off.
Mm,
Like invest in yourself and empower others to do for themselves that are in your life.
mm,
Really and truly put yourself first. Like I even believe when it comes to having children, that child entered my world.
mm,
Now, of course, there are some limitations. There are some things we have to tweak. I'm not saying let's be extreme, but oh, I can't go eat with my friends. I can't go. I can't go get my nails done. Oh, the baby. Da, da, da. No, 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 no. That's not my philosophy, right? That's not my philosophy. So even in running the household and responsibilities in the household, um, delegate delegate. And I think a lot of women, we like to be the center, we want to be loved and needed and all the different things, or we want it done our way. That's probably the number one. We want it done our way. But like I have a cousin, she has like 4 sons or so, and I always like get them in a little huddle, and I'm like, now don't let me hear your mother was doing everything and you all big horse up in here and didn't help, right? So, just really like allowing our kids to thrive, allowing our partners to, do their part, and um really focusing on like that mental health piece. That mental health piece, and like what will happen when the kids leave the house. What will happen was you and that man just staring each other face, right? What were the dreams and the goals deferred? What were the things put to the side? Like it's never too late. I just started learning Haitian Creole the other day. I've always wanted to learn. I'm learning now. Like don't put those things to the side. I was taking until I was injured in an accident. I was taking dance lessons. Soon as the cast comes off, I'm back out. I'm back out. Y'all might see me on Dance with the Stars or something. I don't know. So it's like those things that were put to the side, those things you think are uh too far gone to pick up again. That's not true. That's not true. So in all those areas, personally, professionally, spiritually, also professionally, like, do you really love what you're doing?
mm.
And if you don't, but it's a means to an end, just start thinking about the next step. Just think about what's going on next. And it's okay to be happy.
Yeah,
It's okay to be happy. And
that's
it's not your responsibility to save everyone, to hold everyone up. Oh, mama is the glue. Grandma was the glue. Auntie was the glue. Fine, be the glue, but like, let me show y'all how to make glue. Let me show y'all how to make glue too. Because I'm going to Italy, right?
yeah.
Mama is in Italy. Grandma is in Jamaica. Auntie is in Trinidad. So um put those keys and those tools and those skills in the hands of others, so you don't have to feel like you're juggling all of it, and you really can do for yourself and focus on yourself.
Yeah. And and it's interesting, this sacrifice mindset that a lot of women have, where they sacrifice everything, their dreams, their hopes. And I have a current coaching client that I look forward to. We're doing an interview with her eventually as well. And she, like you said, dream deferred. She decided she wanted to be an actress, and she put it on hold when she was coming out of college. Her parents like, that's not gonna pay the bills, so she waited.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's retired and she's decided to go be an actress, right? And so I think oftentimes, but it means that she has to make an investment, right? She had to invest in me as a coach to support and help her. She had to invest in her getting some classes, going back to school and taking some coursework and all these other things. She had to make those investments for her to be able to do it. And it takes a certain level of investment. And that investment may require some sacrifice. And oftentimes our quick thought process is, well, I'm not enough. Again,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not worth it. And we won't invest in ourselves, but it's essential that we do. We have to make that investment in ourselves to be able to be who we want to be and be okay with that. Don't sacrifice yourself. It's not about that. It's about you living your best life as well. And your children, your family will be inspired by who you are because you're living your best life and being your best self. I think that's a part of it that people miss. You're
Mm-hmm.
not being your best self is not serving your legacy. It's a part of, yes, you've done a lot for others, but a part of your legacy is you being authentically you as well. I think that's important. All right,
And I
last
would say
question.
too, being a martyr is not a flex.
No, it's not. And I think a lot of people are stuck on that thought process. For real.
Mhm.
So I appreciate that. If another woman is watching this and feels stuck, what's one thing you'd want her to know or do today?
All the power is in your hands. You're the only one holding yourself back.
Mm, mm,
Like, I talked about history. I have traced back to my fourth or fifth great grandmother.
mm,
They named her Lucinda. No, no, no. Lucinda's mother was Lydia. So it's like fourth, fifth, sixth. And Lydia on the paperwork is listed as being from Africa.
mm.
And I think about Lydia, I think about Lucy all the time. I think about other ancestors of mine. And what do I mean I'm stuck?
Mm, mm.
Now, I know not all are in the same lot in life. Not
Yeah,
all have the same access to things, the same privileges. And so I'm not downplaying all that. But if people ran away on their feet for freedom,
yep,
right? And whatever your history, don't
yep,
I won't just make it about that. I don't know that there's any group that hasn't struggled and come through some things. And all that it took for you as one person to exist,
yep,
all of the combinations that
yep,
had to come together and survive.
yep,
What do you mean you're stuck?
yep,
And I can say it because I've had to say it to the mirror. I was the person in my way the most. If you don't want to be uncomfortable, well, you're going to stay stuck.
mhm,
If you don't want to do something scared, you're going to stay stuck. If you
mhm,
want everything to go your way, you're going to stay stuck. But like if you're ready to take that bull by the horns and do what it takes to win,
yeah,
whatever win means for you, you do it.
yep,
Find support, create a plan, and you take baby steps. It's not going to happen overnight. I endured domestic violence. Well, and I could sit here and talk about it like it happened to somebody else because I'm healed, right? And I'm free. And I know it's never happening again,
that's right.
right? And there was a time, oh, but I'm married, I'm in a church, and I'm listen to me, I can't worry about that. I gotta be
Yep,
free.
yep,
I gotta be free. I asked myself in 2021, or asked the Lord, where the Bible talks about in John 10:10, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. I've come to give you life and life more abundantly. And I said, God, what does this abundant life mean?
mm,
Right. And I'm not gonna go too much into it, but it's like, we're kind of taught that, our Western brand of Christianity talks about paradise and freedom and no more tears and all those things more so in the afterlife. And, so the suffering shapes us, the suffering comes with it. I understand that piece because that's just life. That's just life. Um, but I would love to see more of us have the mindset of like, I want that abundance now.
yep,
And that doesn't mean things. I had a whole debate with a friend the other day. We talk about freedom with Juneteenth. We ain't really free, da da da. I said, speak for yourself.
yep, that's right.
Could be in chains and free.
Yep, that's right. So
I
mindset,
could be in a hole somewhere and free.
all
And
mindset.
so, it starts with like, how am I thinking? How are you thinking? And you gotta say, do I really want to be unstuck? And am I willing to do what it takes?
Yep,
Now, people may help along the way, but it's really all in your hands.
yep, yep, yep. Now, I love that. And as I shared again, when I did that speaking engagement in Ghana, I went to the point of no return. And in that castle, the Almina Castle, it changed me forever. I'll never be the same. Because I always heard of the Middle Passage and, of course, all the atrocities that happened here in the United States. But what people had to go through even before they got on the ship blew my mind. So when we talk about, especially for those of us, and again, there's other folks listening that may not be of African descent, right? May not have gone through slavery or as far as your descendants. But for those of us that have, and again, as you mentioned, everyone has gone through struggles. For someone in your lineage, in fact, someone's,
Mm.
to have survived in Africa, on the continent, and all the atrocities that happened there, then survived the Middle Passage and all the atrocities that happened there, and then survived in slavery, whether on the Caribbean islands or in America, and all the atrocities that happened there. And then for us to be here, yeah, you're right. The question you asked is yeah, how can you be stuck, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
the strength that comes from that through you means,
Mm-hmm.
I love what you said. Whatever you're going through right now, it's not permanent. This is just temporary. It's this moment, right? So it just means I'm going through something now. This is not have to be the end all be all. So powerful shares. Yeah, this has been an amazing conversation, Kristina. I really appreciate you taking the time, Chris, and just this really pouring in and sharing and being vulnerable. So I want to give you another opportunity to share, let folks know how to stay in touch with you. If you have any products, any services, or anything that you provide that folks can benefit from, or ways that they can learn and grow from and with you, please want to give you a chance to share before we close out.
Well, I do have a copy editing and proofreading business. It's called the K Group Services. And the website is www.the groupservices.com, all one together. The email address is the same at Gmail, the K Group Services at Gmail. You can reach me at 301-799-3970. If you are interested in the school system, you can get me at Kristina, Kristina .Newland, Newland, at youthbuildpcs.org. If it's a matter of spiritual counseling or spirituality, it's not something I really do as a business per se, but you just don't know where to go or who to talk to, you could get me on at that 301 phone number. Just send a text or call me.
Yeah, thank you so much again. I mean, I'm so appreciative. And obviously this has been about us creating a space. Like that's what this is about. I've been very intentional about what it means to be able to create this space through this mastermind school. And oftentimes I think a lot of people feel I can figure it out on my own. I can do this. I don't need anyone else. I got this. And I think unfortunately that mindset holds a lot of us back. We are just better together. We're just in a better space for us to learn and grow together. And so having, I'm so appreciative of you just being able and willing to pour in and share your journey, your story, so that other women can be inspired to make the investment in themselves and choose to be a part of this. So ladies, if you're looking to be a part of a community and you want to be a part of something remarkable that can help you elevate, help you thrive, help you get to that next level, I want to challenge and encourage you. Again, respond. You can just comment mastermind below. The links are in my bio. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's in the description. Listen, we just want you to be able to benefit from what we're doing here so it can help you get to that next level, because you deserve to live your best life. So with that being said, as I say every day, if you can dream what God can achieve it. So let's go out, let's make our dreams our reality. Because you know what? You deserve it. God bless. Take care. We'll see you soon. Bye now.